Have you ever wondered why moving to Costa Rica can be so intimidating? Why the thought of it sometimes even scares you? Today we're about to jump into some reasons and some tips that can actually help you get over that hurdle. So let's jump into it. I believe the first thing innate in all of us is that change is hard, no matter if you're leaving the country or not. When you're doing something like new for the first time, standing and presenting in a public forum or even going live on YouTube, it can be very scary and challenging. And moving to Costa Rica is no different. Moving to Costa Rica pulls you out of your comfort zone, literally. Everything that you've established and known is right where you're at. But if you want to ever grow and do something new, then you have to leave your comfort zone. No matter where you're headed in life, you always have to leave your comfort zone to find something new. And in addition, even after those who have braved it out and actually started to move here, they begin to realize, hey, there's much more to learn and I'm at the bottom of the hill. And to be honest, that was very difficult for me. When I left the United States, I left a successful career. I knew the places where I wanted to go, had a house, cars, and everything else. And when I moved to Costa Rica, I didn't have any of that. I had to learn how to adjust. I had to learn how to speak the language. When there's places that I didn't know where to go, I even had to learn that too. Not only did I have to discover new areas and locations in Costa Rica, I had to do the same work in myself. Tip number 1, don't give up too quickly. When you're on any journey to find anything new, especially moving to a new country, don't give up too quickly. You're going to be in a transition period of adjusting to get here and adjusting while you're here. You'll be learning new things and new cultures and new languages. Honestly, if you look at it from a different perspective, it can all be very exciting. But if you look at it at trying to be perfect or trying to be back at the top where you were and feel like you're at the bottom because you have problems enunciating words in Spanish, that's okay. That's part of the journey. And know that moving to Costa Rica is a journey. And I don't just mean traveling. It means that you're going to have to make some personal adjustments in you because Costa Rica is not going to change. Number 2, fear of the unknown. If we're all honest, we all have the what if monster that attacks from time to time. What if this happens? What if that happens? And it sends us into spirals. And if you're like me, you start trying to fix all that before it ever happens. So you're planning, you're setting money aside. When I first started my journey here, it honestly took me 6 years just to leave the United States because I was trying to plan for all the scenarios. I would sit there and say, okay, I need money for this, if I'm gonna live on the beach, if I'm gonna live in Central Valley, and what happens if this accident and that? I need $1 million. And honestly, I never did need all that. But the what if monster had me going for such a long time and honestly cost me a lot of money in the meantime. One of my biggest fears of starting the process was if I sell everything and then I lose all my money when I get to Costa Rica and then I won't be able to come back and I'll be stuck in a foreign country. And honestly, in my head that actually made sense, but put on paper and said out loud actually sounds very crazy. I was blessed to have a good support system that helped me find a solution to those problems. And so once I had the solution, that thought really just seemed crazy. A helpful tip for this is don't let fear lead your life because it will always prevent you from the places you want to grow. And yes, I said grow. You could replace it with go, but fear stops you from growing in life. It stops you from doing things new, taking on new challenges, and honestly leaving the country. If you let fear lead your life, you won't like where it takes you. Crime. Is Costa Rica safe? It's a big question that you always see, and honestly, yeah, people want to know, are they going to be safe if they move to a different country? Well, let me hit you with this. At the time of this recording, Vision of Humanity is one of the places or websites you can go to and find out the Global Peace Index. Now, Costa Rica ranks 39 as the time of this recording, and United States is 122. Which means that United States is far more dangerous than Costa Rica. But I hate to use the word crime in the general sense like that because crime is different. And crime is a general word that kind of covers everything. I will say that, since I've been here and actually I did some research a while back, I've never found school shootings in Costa Rica or people going to the grocery store or the movie theaters and there's a mass shooting. And so I say this not to pick on the things and that are devastating that have been going on in the United States, but when you hear crime, don't just equate that, oh, well, there's crime here, and here's the numbers that is saying it must be the same crime. No, you need to really do some more research to figure out, do you feel comfortable? I'll say typically what happens in Costa Rica, and yes, I'm oversimplifying, and no, I'm not going to be your news facts for this. Costa Rica generally is known for theft. And in particular, theft where you're not attending, your stuff. And so whether that means you left the house and they tried to break in, or you left your drone at the beach. I had a propane tank that was outside and someone actually stole it. But that is about the only thing that's ever been stolen. Now, yes, I hear other stories, and yes, there are crimes that are not even reported. Generally, with the theft tip, there are good and bad people all over the world. And no matter where you're going or even where you're at, there may be crime around you. My point is, don't let that fear of crime stop you from your dream. You're currently living in the United States, which has a higher crime level, and you feel comfortable because you've gotten used to it. While you can't prevent all acts of crime, even in the United States, you should still be wise. What I mean by be wise or use wisdom is don't go around flaunting that you have a whole bunch of money. No matter where you are, if you are in a busy city, New York, Chicago, I would give you the same advice. And if the locals are cool, you still have tourists that are coming in and out, and maybe they want to take advantage of you. So be wise how you walk the streets. Also, be wise where you leave stuff. I hear stories about people getting their drones stolen that they left on the beach. They thought it was hidden underneath the towel. No, it's a beach. You have to be more wise than that. They probably saw you flying it, and they know where your stuff is. So don't just assume a towel is going to save your drone. Also, people leave stuff out in the seats in the car, cameras, laptops, whatever. Those things can be stolen as well. But funny enough, that's happened in the States. I had a friend that just unfortunately happened to. I think the next part of Costa Rica is just the language. If you don't know Spanish, and I'll pause and say, that's okay. You'll be okay. But if you don't know Spanish, then hearing people talk can actually seem intimidating. For those people who always think the worst, then when you hear somebody talking and maybe they glance over at you, you're assuming they're talking about you. They're probably not. Maybe unless you did something crazy or silly, maybe they are talking about you. But in most cases, they're not talking about you. They have other things to do in their life and to talk about. So just because you don't know the language, they're probably not talking about you. The other scary part of the language is the fear just kind of within yourself. It's, okay, if I move there and I don't know what to say and somebody starts talking to me, what do I do? Yeah, that is a concern. But that's something that only gets help when you actually work and practice on your Spanish. You're not going to fix that problem being in the United States. You're not going to learn Costa Rica Spanish. You need to actually come here and go through that. Put down the perfectionism, put down, yes, maybe it's a little bit embarrassing and it feels like, a kid again. But after you get past that level, you'll start to be able to communicate and be able to enter and play in society in much more powerful ways than you ever can imagine. But it does take getting through those beginning steps and those hurdles. My biggest one was, what if I say something and it offended someone? Now, that was truly on me, because everyone that I have talked to in the past, actually going on 4 years now, have been very patient with me and telling me, I don't understand what you just said, and allowed me to actually say it correctly and didn't assume the worst. I've never been in a fight saying, hey, you said something wrong. No, I've actually been able to correct the things that I may have said incorrectly, but it was all about patience. And the people here, at least the people that I ran into in the total time that I've been here, have all really been patient and kind and been able to see that, hey, he's probably, even if he said the wrong thing, he probably doesn't know what he said. So let me ask you, missing my family. This is something that is kind of scary, because it's like, if I move to Costa Rica, I'll be apart from my family. I'll miss them growing up. I'll miss seeing everything. I want you to click this link above. I go through some tips that actually help you to get over that and make sure that doesn't happen. But the one thing that I want you to do, a takeaway out of that, is do not wait. Waiting in time is not your friend, because the longer that you wait, the more things that are going to happen. If your kids or your cousins or whoever are growing up, then if you're staying for them, then you're going to stay for their kids, and then Yeah, and then you're gonna lose your window of ever trying to actually live out your dream of moving to Costa Rica. Tip for missing your family. Family is important. Try this tip. Reframe Costa Rica as you move to the other side of the country. Because you found a job, it had everything you need, maybe it was a business, maybe there was opportunity more lucrative, or you found your spouse on the other side. Yet your family lived on the opposite side of the United States. What would you do to make it work? Wouldn't you find out a solution? Would you make an adjustment so you have the best of both worlds? Now apply this to Costa Rica. So if you guys want to know more about moving and living in Costa Rica, I want you guys to check these 2 videos out, and I will see you on the other side.